hip internal rotation, pails and rails in a 90-90 position. So basically you're going to set up just how I am here. Each leg is about a 90-degree angle. Now the front leg is not going to be the working leg, so if it's uncomfortable like this, you can adjust this leg a little bit. You can bring it in, you can bring it out a little bit. If your knee's coming up, you can use something like a rolled up towel or a yoga block, kind of just place it under that knee if it's more comfortable. So now as for the setup here, like I said, we're working the rear leg. So what we want to do is get a passive range of motion on this leg for internal rotation. So if you can see, if I solidify myself here, I can internally rotate off the ground there. So what I want to do is change that. So the easiest way to do that, in my opinion, is to see what your range is. And what you're going to do is slowly get into a position. You can see my foot slowly came down. And now I'm going to let my hip kind of sink back and change my position here. So now, if I'm here, I cannot lift anymore. So I'm going to passive range of motion here. So when it comes to the pails and rails, you're always going to do a ramping up on the pails contraction. So you would gradually start to work up. So you take a deep breath, you're going to brace, drive your hands into the floor. If you're a little bit shorter and you don't have a good reach here, again, you could use these yoga blocks. And you can kind of set them up behind you to get a little bit more comfortable in this position. Now let's just say I'm going to stay here. So pails contraction, deep breath, good brace. Find some good tension, drive your hands into these blocks or into the floor. You're going to drive this knee a little bit down too, and you're going to basically start to apply pressure from the ankle into the floor, like you're trying to sweep through the floor this way. Start at about 20% effort, and you're going to work up to your greatest, safest effort. Once you reach that point, hold for about 10 seconds or whatever's prescribed for you, and then you're going to go into the rails portion. Now the rails action is going to be trying to lift this foot off the ground, basically turning this leg over. So, but what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to shift away. So a lot of people will start that rails contraction, they'll try and move so that they can get that foot off the ground. I want you to stay in a passive range of motion and just drive. Try and squeeze as hard as you can. Try and turn this femur over. You should get a sensation kind of right in here. Sometimes you get a little bit of cramping. Try and work through that. If you can't, just kind of relax and go for the next round. But that's your 90-90 position for internal rotation, pails and rails.